how I am dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. So we're just gonna have salad tonight because we have so many greens, because I already had greens before picking up my CSA box and now I have tons. We're gonna make candied pecans, which I've never made before. And I've got beets steaming, also from my CSA box. I'm going to saute up some broccolini. And yeah, that's gonna be our dinner tonight. Just keeping it somewhat simple, but mostly just trying to use up some produce. We don't have pecans, so hard to make candied pecans. We're gonna make candied almonds instead. And check on these beets. Nope, not even done. These called for like cinnamon. Do you think that would be good, Saffron? Yeah? Okay. Ho, ho, the mistletoe hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you. Kiss the ones for me. Broccolini. Mmm. Okay. Well, this was not the plan, but it's great. Little crudité before dinner. Yeah, help me shake it. I'm just gonna bring it up to the 1 cup line. See, here it comes. You can taste the finished product. Okay. Shake it, 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 shake it. That's a pear. She has only ever eaten pear in tiny little pieces. Never eaten the whole thing. The candied almonds on this salad definitely tipped it over the edge and made it really delicious. And also the balsamic honey mustard dressing. I am addicted to this, and the link to that recipe will be in the description box. You've got to try it. Hello, welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to another week of cooking in my vegetarian, it's gonna be tofu Parmesan. Never made it before. It's basically just breaded slices of tofu and then, you know, marinara sauce, cheese in a baguette. I actually took a shortcut and I just bought a baguette from our local grocery store's bakery department, so that was kind of nice. And yeah, I'm excited about this. I think it's gonna be pretty easy. I really, there's been a tofu awakening within me these last maybe 6 months, I'd say. I never really enjoyed tofu that much before that, except for in pad thai. And now I really like it. And I'm pretty happy about it, really, because it's super cheap, it's good for you. I know there's some soy controversy out there, but I think in moderation, soy is fine. I'm just not eating it, you know, 7 times a day, every day, and drinking soy milk on top of it. You know, if you're doing that, you do what you want to do. I think I had too much coffee today. I'm just home alone and oh my goodness. I think I better get started with this. So right off the bat, this recipe says to cut the tofu into 8 equal slices, which I definitely didn't do. I pressed this tofu earlier, and I think I need to invest in an actual tofu press. You can buy them on Amazon. They're, I think, plastic, and basically every time I press tofu, it ends up really misshapen, and it's not as easy to like cut into a clean slice. So maybe sometime I'll get a tofu press. Behind me, you can see there's some toys that I washed because earlier on a walk with Saffron, I wonder how to cut this. We came across a bin of free stuff. It looked like nothing great, but I looked inside and there were some foam letters, which is great for bath time, and they were in good condition, so I took some of those. And there was also a whole set of plastic lacing beads. So when she's older, I can give her a shoelace with a knot on the end and then give her a bunch of these and she can work on lacing them. Pretty pumped about that because that was definitely like on my list of eventual things to buy or find for her, and God provided them on the side of the road. So these are coated in panko, which is always good. I love panko. But it feels like I love everything right now. I don't know what happened to me. I'm gonna have this recipe linked in the description box, by the way, so definitely check it out if you're interested. I think I'm also just going to sprinkle the slices of tofu with some salt because tofu is just so tasteless if you don't season it really well. So I'm gonna try that even though the recipe doesn't say it, but hopefully that'll kind of permeate it. This calls for Italian seasoning, which I don't have, so I'm mixing some parsley, some oregano. Oh, I love oregano, best Italian spice. And then some basil, second best Italian spice. Comment down below, what's your favorite Italian spice? Also, I'm not counting garlic because garlic is not really a spice. It's a way of life. Gonna add a little pepper, not called for, but I'm feeling wild. This is really rock solid. I really enjoyed making this meal because it was definitely an unusual weeknight meal for us, and even though it looked really fancy and special, it was easier than a lot of other things that I would normally make on a weeknight because it was pretty much just fried tofu and I had already bought the baguette, so I really loved this. And the dredging process was a pain and it took some time. You literally just make glue. You make flour and water and then you coat the tofu in that and coat it in the panko and fry it, so it's a really solid crust once you're done. Definitely make sure you use one hand for the wet mixture and one hand for the dry mixture, or else you will have like giant baseball glove hands by the end of the process. This recipe made enough for Cody and I for dinner, with Saffron snacking on pieces of the tofu as well, and for lunch the next day. And here's a little tip that I came up with out of necessity a while ago. I do not buy paper towels. I use reusable cloths and then I wash them. And so when I'm frying things, it's kind of tough because normally you would drain things on a paper towel after frying them. So instead of doing that, I will take a cookie drying rack and place it over a plate, and I'll just put my fried items on the cookie drying rack and let the oil drip onto the plate, which I can totally easily just clean up. This is definitely a meal that I would make for company. I would make for meat eaters. I think everybody would enjoy it. Cody and I were marveling at how much it was like chicken Parmesan sandwiches. It was kind of amazing because with all of that breading and all of the flavors going on in the seasonings and in the marinara and the cheese, you don't notice that it's tofu on the inside and not chicken, because both of them don't have a ton of flavor on their own apart from all the seasonings you put on them. So it was just so fun and so good. Really enjoyed this one. Here's the finished product, and as you can see, they are super true to the inspiration meal. They really look like it. And also, keeping it real, this was Saffron's dinner, some yogurt with raisins, and some edamame and corn. I just could not figure out what to feed her tonight. We are gonna eat dinner in about 30 minutes, and I haven't started anything at all. So I thought I would just bring you along really quick, really vlog style, of this dinner. So it's probably not gonna be a huge surprise to any of you, but I'm gonna pull out a can of chickpeas and I am rinsing it off. I'm gonna saute up a ton of kale because I have a ton of kale to eat. I think I'm going to crisp up some chickpeas in oil, then add in some kale until it wilts, add in some diced tomatoes and lots of salt, and we'll see where the spices lead me. And then I'm planning on making just a really small amount of couscous, because if you didn't know this, couscous takes like 3 minutes to make. It's amazing. So if you want like a quick, it's not a grain, it's pasta, but if you want a quick thing like a grain, then couscous is totally the way to go. So I'm gonna try this. I have no idea how this is gonna turn out, but ooh, I might put a dollop of yogurt on top too. Ooh, I also have parsley. So this could be pretty, at least, whether it's good or not. So yeah, this is what's happening. Okay, I am just checking in. It's been 10 minutes and we've made a lot of progress. So I have couscous that is, I don't know, fluffing up. All you do is pour on boiling water onto the dry couscous, and in 3 or 5 minutes, it's done. So that's probably done already. And I'm gonna flip you around and show you what's happening on the stove. So over here, I've got this little skillet with really hot coconut oil and a can of drained chickpeas. And then in the back, I've got my cast iron going with some olive oil and a bunch of kale. I had a whole bag of kale that I have not used, and it was starting to go bad. So this was about half the bag, believe it or not. I put salt on both of these, and I am going to add about half a can of crushed tomatoes to this, and then that'll be the meal. If you are wondering why I used coconut oil in one pan and olive oil in the other, coconut oil can handle a higher heat, and I wanted to cook the chickpeas at a higher heat. This olive oil is also a little bit more expensive than the coconut oil, and it tends to break down at a much lower temperature than the coconut oil would. So I like to use it for lower heat settings, and also in recipes where I know that I will be able to taste the oil. All right, I added the can of crushed tomatoes. It was like a 14-ounce can, and it's been cooking down for a little bit. Yeah, really curious to see how this is gonna be. I have never made a meal like this, honestly. This is just kind of, I don't know, came to me. So I'm super curious. I salted both of this really well. I'm gonna add more pepper to this because I love peppery greens. And I still haven't really added any spices to this mixture, but I'd like to. Oh, I added a pinch of red pepper flakes, but that might be all I add. Here's the finished bowls. We have the couscous on the bottom, the tomatoey chickpeas on the left, the kale on the right. I also added some balsamic vinegar to the kale and let that cook down on it as well. And some parsley sprinkled all over the top. And I really think this is gonna be super, super good. So yeah, pretty proud of this meal.